Welcome back for another book review. So today, this is a book that I am so glad I was able to get from the library. So this is the Modern Witchcraft book of Natural Magick, and I've read other books in this series. So the series is this Modern Witchcraft book of whatever, and I've read a few of them, and some of them I've really enjoyed, some were like, meh, and so, I usually am just, kind of on the fence with it. I think it's the Modern Witchcraft Guide to the Tarot. I absolutely love that book. This one, it just is, it's bleh. I've had quite a few now, back to back, that are just so lackluster. So, this is one that it took a lot to figure out who I think the intended audience is. Because every author, when you sit down to write a book, you have to have a vague idea of who your reader is going to be, especially when writing a witchcraft book. You have to pick who your audience is going to be. You're either aiming at beginners, intermediate, advanced. When you move into intermediate to advanced, you kind of need to start to narrow down. For intermediate, is it going to be more just getting out of the beginner stage? Are they going more into the advanced? Have they gone into more niche categories? You gotta know your audience. And it took me a long time to figure out who this book I think was aimed at. And I've settled on early intermediate because this book, it goes through kind of beginner stuff, but kind of not. It describes things, but more of a refresher on stuff. And honestly, the vibe of this book, and this is going to sound terrible, and absolutely no hate to the author, this is just how it came across to me. Other people might have a very different opinion, but as I was reading it, and I know it's a stylistic choice, but 99% of this book, reading it, it felt like when you were sitting next to, and you're the sober one, you're sitting next to somebody who is stoned out of their mind, and they're going on their philosophical rant of how the universe works. That's the vibe of this. Just broad strokes of how the universe works, and it is this way, and there wasn't a whole lot of nuance. And again, this is a really hard line to walk when you're writing a book, but the author feels like she's talking at you, not with you. And it's really hard to do. I get that. I'm struggling with that as I'm writing my own right now. It's really hard. But the whole book just feels like she's talking at you, not to you. And there is a difference, and it's a small difference, but I don't know, maybe to other people, you're just gonna jive with how this is written, and if so, great. The reviews are pretty, all over the place for this book. Some people love this book. Some people hate this book. And there's a lot of in between. And I think it just comes down to, what you want out of a book. And, for me, I don't love guided meditations in, written form. Not my thing. And this book has a lot of that, but it also will spontaneously jump into group work, which feels really weird. This book just goes all over the place. It felt very random. Personally, it wasn't for me. It's not a book for me. It might be for you. And I don't know, I feel I do get a little more judgmental because I think this was my 137th book of the year. So I've read a lot of books, and I've read a lot before this year too. So I've read a lot of books. I get a little more experiencing a lot of different authors. And so you start to notice certain trends, and maybe it comes down to the publishing house and the editors involved, because this is not a Llewellyn book. This is from Adams Media or something like that, which to me, it always I tend to trust Weiser and Llewellyn to have decent content. Anything outside of that, I get really nervous. I looked at this when I picked it up, and I looked at the publisher, and this is one of those books I had to make sure I read every single page. Because, like, again, some of these books we've noticed beforehand, where if it says for entertainment purposes only, instant red flag, instantly you're going up from a 1-star. For me, that's my own thing. But, yeah, like, I don't know. I think it just, maybe it's how this publishing house wants it to be written. That's how the editor thinks it should be. I don't know. Maybe just, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's not terrible. The information in this book is okay. It just wasn't for me. I don't love that most of this is like guided meditation. The verbiage is one of those things that, personally, I'm not a fan of using ye olde English simply to make it sound fancy. Not for me. I'm very content with literally see you later at the end of a ritual, because I will. I'll see them later. I'm gonna do ritual again. Like, I don't need to have these grandiose, you doth bought whatever for this blah blah blah. Like, words we never ever use anymore, they have changed because that's how language works. Like, just stuff like that. And, like, other people had complained that, like, the meditations didn't give you any, like, leeway to, like, have your own interpretations, which I'm like, fair, I guess, but also, like, it's a book. Like, it's not actively, like, guiding you through it. You can change your mind if you want to and do whatever you want. And, like, you know, if it's a guided one that you're listening to, it's a little different. But, I don't know, maybe if you were using this as, like, a guide to lead a meditation, maybe. I don't know. Like, this is just one of those books. It's not terrible. It's just not it for me. I've definitely read far worse books. I've also read a lot better books. And I think the thing that makes a really good witchy book is connecting to the reader. And, like, it's something that I've noticed a lot, is that the books that actively talk to you as you're reading it and are trying to connect to you as the reader do so much better than these authors that are just telling you information. And again, it's such a hard line to walk. And I don't know if, like, I didn't think to check if this is, like, a more recent book or an older book, because that matters too. Authors can get better as they write. Typically, that's what happens. Sometimes the imposter syndrome kicks in at, like, book 2 or 3, and, you know, we just ignore things and then they slowly get back on their groove. But, like, I don't know. It's not my favorite. So anyways, that's enough rambling for today. I would love to know your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. Huge thank you to my patrons. They have been getting bombarded this week with uploads because I was behind, so I'm just posting it all instead of spaced out from the past few weeks. It's just like, bam, here's all your content. So this is a great way to join Patreon and get a taste of everything, because I've got a lot of posts going up this week. So anyways, thank you to my wonderful patrons. You guys are so great over there. And of course, here on the channel, thank you for watching and liking and subscribing and commenting and all that good stuff. It also helps quite a bit. And of course, if you want to check out my own book, it is linked in the description down below. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Blessed be.